Indo-Iranian peoples, also known as Indo-Iranic people by scholars, and sometimes as Aryans from their self-designation, are a grouping of ethnic groups consisting of the Indo-Aryan, Iranian and Nuristani people, that is, speakers of Indo-Iranian languages, a major branch of the Indo-European language family. The Proto-Indo-Iranians are commonly identified with the descendants of the Proto-Indo-Europeans known as the Sintoshta culture and the subsequent Andronovo culture within the broader Andronovo horizon, and their homeland with an area of the Eurasian steppe that borders the Ural River on the west, the Tian Shan on the east. Nomenclature. The term Aryan has generally been used historically to denote the Indo-Iranians because Arya is the self-designation of the Indo-Iranian languages, and their speakers, specifically the Iranian and the Indo-Aryan peoples, collectively known as the Indo-Iranians. Some scholars now use the term Indo-Iranian to refer to this group, while the term Aryan is used to mean Indo-Iranian by other scholars such as Joseph Wieserhofer and Jaakko Häkkinen. Population geneticist Luigi Luca Cavalli Sforza, in his 1994 book The History and Geography of Human Genes, also uses the term Aryan to describe the Indo-Iranians. Origin. The early Indo-Iranians are commonly identified with the descendants of the Proto-Indo-Europeans known as the Sintoshta culture and the subsequent Andronovo culture within the broader Andronovo horizon, and their homeland with an area of the Eurasian steppe that borders the Ural River on the west, the Tian Shan on the east. Historical linguists broadly estimate that a continuum of Indo-Iranian languages probably began to diverge by 2000 BC, if not earlier, preceding both the Vedic and Iranian cultures. The earliest recorded forms of these languages, Vedic Sanskrit and Gadic Avestan, are remarkably similar, descended from the common Proto-Indo-Iranian language. The origin and earliest relationship between the Nuristani languages and that of the Iranian and Indo-Aryan groups is complex. Genetics. AL1A1A is the subclade most commonly associated with Indo-European speakers. Most discussions purportedly of R1A origins are actually about the origins of the dominant R1A1A subclade. Data so far collected indicates that there are two widely separated areas of high frequency, one in South Asia, around North India, and the other in Eastern Europe, around Poland and Ukraine. The historical and prehistoric possible reasons for this are the subject of ongoing discussion and attention amongst population geneticists and genetic genealogists, and are considered to be of potential interest to linguists and archaeologists also. Out of 10 human male remains assigned to the Andronovo horizon from the Krasnoyarsk region, 9 possess the R1A Y chromosome haplogroup and 1 CM130 haplogroup. mtDNA haplogroups of 9 individuals assigned to the same Andronovo horizon and region were as follows: U4, U2E, U5A1, Z, T1, T4, H, and K2B. 90% of the Bronze Age period mtDNA haplogroups were of West Eurasian origin, and the study determined that at least 60% of the individuals overall had light hair and blue or green eyes. A 2004 study also established that during the Bronze Age, Iron Age period, the majority of the population of Kazakhstan was of West Eurasian origin, and that prior to the 13th–7th century BCE, all Kazakh samples belonged to European lineages. Expansion. 2 wave models of Indo-Iranian expansion have been proposed by and popular. The Indo-Iranians and their expansion are strongly associated with the Proto-Indo-European invention of the chariot. It is assumed that this expansion spread from the Proto-Indo-European homeland north of the Caspian Sea south to the Caucasus, Central Asia, the Iranian Plateau, and northern India. They also expanded into Mesopotamia and Syria and introduced the horse and chariot culture to this part of the world. Sumerian texts from Edda-Ibgursu already mention the chariot, and Ur-3 texts mention the horse. First wave, Indo-Iranians, Anatolia, Hittites and Mitanni. The left linguistic remains in a Hittite horse training manual written by one Kikuli the Mitannian. Other evidence is found in references to the names of Mitanni rulers and the gods they swore by in treaties. These remains are found in the archives of the Mitanni's neighbors. The time period for this is about 1500 BC. In a treaty between the Hittites and the Mitanni, the deities Mitra, Varuna, Indra, and Nasatya are invoked. Kikuli's horse training text includes technical terms such as Ika, Terra, Panzer, Sata, Na, Vartana. The numeral Ika 1 is of particular importance because it places the superstrate in the vicinity of Indo-Aryan proper as opposed to Indo-Iranian, or early Iranian in general. Indian subcontinent Vedic culture. The standard model for the entry of the Indo-European languages into South Asia is that this first wave went over the Hindu Kush, either into the headwaters of the Indus and later the Ganges. The earliest stratum of Vedic Sanskrit, preserved only in the Rig Veda, is assigned to roughly 1500 BC. From the Indus, the Indo-Aryan languages spread from c. 1500 BC to c. 500 BC, over the northern and central parts of the subcontinent, sparing the extreme south. The Indo-Iryans in these areas established several powerful kingdoms and principalities in the region, from eastern Afghanistan to the doorstep of Bengal. The most powerful of these kingdoms were the post-Rig-Vedic Kuru and their allies the Panchalas further east, as well as Gandhara and later on, about the time of the Buddha, the kingdom of Kosala and the quickly expanding realm of Magadha. The latter lasted until the 4th century BC, when it was conquered by Chandragupta Maurya and formed the center of the Mauryan Empire. In eastern Afghanistan and southwestern Pakistan, whatever Indo-Aryan languages were spoken there were eventually pushed out by the Iranian languages. Most Indo-Aryan languages, however, were and still are prominent in the rest of the Indian subcontinent. Today, Indo-Aryan languages are spoken in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Fiji and the Maldives. Second wave. The second wave is interpreted as the Iranian wave. The first Iranians to reach the Black Sea may have been the Sumerians in the 8th century BC, although their linguistic affiliation is uncertain. They were followed by the Scythians, who are considered a western branch of the Central Asian Sakas, Sarmatian tribes, of whom the best known are the Roxolani, Iazyges and the Alani. Followed the Scythians westwards into Europe in the late centuries BCE and the 1st and 2nd centuries of the Common Era. The populous Sarmatian tribe of the Masajte, dwelling near the Caspian Sea, were known to the early rulers of Persia in the Achaemenid period. In the east, the Saka occupied several areas in Xinjiang, from Khotan to Tumshuk. The Medes, Parthians and Persians begin to appear on the Iranian plateau from c. 800 BC, and the Achaemenids replaced Elamite rule from 559 BC. Around the first millennium of the Common Era, the Kambojas, the Pashtuns and the Baloch began to settle on the eastern edge of the Iranian plateau, on the mountainous frontier of northwestern and western Pakistan, displacing the earlier Indo-Aryans from the area. In Central Asia, the Turkic languages have marginalized Iranian languages as a result of the Turkic expansion of the early centuries AD. Extant major Iranian languages are Persian, Pashto, Kurdish, and Baluchi besides numerous smaller ones. Archaeology. Archaeological cultures associated with Indo-Iranian expansion include Ural-Paltauka culture, Central Asia Andronovo Horizon Sintashta Petrovka Archive, Alakal Fedorofo Alexeyevka Bactria Marjana archaeological complex Srubna culture Abashevo culture Yaz culture, India painted greyware culture, Iran early West Iranian greyware late West Iranian buffware, Indo-Pak subcontinent Swad culture cemetery H culture, Papali suggests the following identifications. Language. The Indo-European language spoken by the Indo-Iranians in the late 3rd millennium BC was a Satem language still not removed very far from the Proto-Indo-European language, and in turn only removed by a few centuries from the Vedic Sanskrit of the Rig Veda. The main phonological change separating Proto-Indo-Iranian from Proto-Indo-European is the collapse of the ablating vowels **i, **o, into a single vowel, Proto-Indo-Iranian **a. Grassmann's law and Bartholomew's law were also complete in Proto-Indo-Iranian, as well as the loss of the labia velas to k, and the Eastern Indo-European shift from palatized k to c, as in Proto-Indo-European *kmto greater than Indo-Iran, *kata greater than Sanskrit Sata, Old Iran, Sata, 100. Among the sound changes from Proto-Indo-Iranian to Indo-Aryan is the loss of the voice sibilant *z. Among those to Iranian is the aspiration of the pi voiced aspirates.